One.
And here we are back for another cracking episode of the Cowbell podcast. I'm with my co-host Kelvin. Yep, how are you, Kelvin?
Yeah, very good, Dave.
Good to see you and good to be here on the Cowbell tonight. As always, and you'd say it every time on a podcast when I listen to podcasts, they always say, "Oh, we're very blessed with some special guests." But tonight we are definitely blessed with some incredible guests. First of all, we'll bring in Brendan Veneer here, who Brendan was our very first guest on the Cowbell podcast, and we've asked him to come back, and he's brought along a very, very special friend in Charlie Maher here. So, Brendo, welcome. Charlie, welcome. How are you both, lads?
Thanks for having me, Dave. Glad to be back. The return's here. It's truly here. So no, good to be back, and even more of a special moment tonight to have my close brother Charlie Maher alongside me tonight. So really looking forward to this chat tonight with you guys. So yeah, it should be a good one.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Brother Brendo, for teeing it up. Always got time for people. That's one thing that I have. Always have time for a yarn with anyone. So, yeah.
Mm,
Brendo, we'll
yeah.
we'll throw to you, mate. And you were the one that when we were chatting after our very first episode, that without even asking, you just said, "I know someone that needs to be on this podcast." Well, that someone now is on this podcast. So, Brendo, take it away. Introduce Charlie to us.
Yeah. So yeah, Charlie Maher. Um, he's one. I've actually met him out in Alice Springs, and I lived out there for a couple of years, and I was just so blessed to cross paths with this inspiring, humble, amazing human that I was just drawn to straight away. So Charlie Maher is an Arrarnta man from Alice Springs, Indigenous fella out there. Grew up around those areas, and I was lucky enough, yeah, to experience a small part of that in my journey as well. And Charlie Maher is also the first graduate of the Indigenous Marathon Foundation that was created around 15 years ago. And he was the first graduate, um, just, just a laid back Indigenous fella, like playing footy, hanging out with his mates, probably doing a few wrong things here and there as a young fella, and was lucky enough to get an opportunity to, fast forward 15 years later, he's the first Indigenous man to ever run in all the world major marathon events around the world. So it's just, it just blows your mind, the the impact that he has on others. You can see it. He doesn't have to say much. The great man. He's got the aura around him, that the kindness, big open heart that he has, wanting to help his the society of humans, but also his culture as well, which is really special. And that's why we run. So I'll let him do all the talking. And Charlie Maher, thanks for coming on, brother. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks, brother. Thanks for those kind words. Like you said, I just love being around people, Like, don't have to say much, and just always happy and smiling, and that live life to the fullest. And Charlie Maher, I'm from Western Arrarnta, man. Which those of you who don't know where that is, I grew up in a small community just outside of Hemmonsburg. So Hemmonsburg's 120 k's west of Alice Springs, and then my community is 8 miles from Hemmonsburg, called Kurramal, Nimipurt, and it's right on the Fink River. So the Fink River is one of the oldest rivers in the world. It spans, I think, 500 or 600 kilometers through Central Australia and South Australia. So yeah, that's where I grew up. Yeah, for me, we didn't have much growing up. Just lived with stayed with my grandparents out bush, and my mum was big on every time school holidays was on or any kind of holidays, we were straight out bush from Alice Springs to our community, and just being out there with our grandparents and kind of living off the land. And sometimes it would flood, so we'd get stuck out there. Might get stuck out there for a couple of weeks and wait for the flood to subside. And but we wouldn't have it any other way. We had all of our, my siblings and close cousins that lived on that outstation, and we kind of just made our own fun out there, and just it was the best time of my life. And um, I'm pretty lucky because I've got a strong culture and language, so every time I get back home, I speak language to my family, and it's still really strong. So whereas some parts of Australia and that it's not as strong as where I come from, and um, I kind of keep grounded and to keep my 2 feet on the ground, continue to do that because that's how I grew up. And I don't talk a lot because I'm a really good listener, and that's only because of my respect for my elders and my culture, and and that's always been with me to this day, and to always keep grounded and to always remember who I am and where I come from. And yeah, that's my safe place. Yeah, when Brendo's been out there, as well, and I took him out there with the young fellas that we used to work with, the Contaf, and so our doors always open for everyone, to share and go camping. And I love taking people there to just to share a little bit where I come from, because a lot of people think that I've done really well for myself, and you know nowadays, but for me it's always just just reminding people, like, this is where I've come from. I didn't have much growing up, and lived in crowded houses, and my mum had a pension, so look forward for Thursdays. That's when mum got paid. And just didn't have much growing up. But I think one thing that my mum instilled into me, our faith's number one. So it's the Lutheran church out at Emmonsburg. The Germans settled there, and we had to my knowledge, we had a real good relationship with the Germans when they settled in the mission there in Emmonsburg. And so yeah, and from a very young age, I've always had strong faith, and that's what mum, installed into us as young kids. Having our faith that came before family. So, and she always told us that it doesn't matter what we have, as long as we call him Ingardis, which is Jesus Christ, in our lives, and we just got to be blessed of what we have and family and have love in our lives. So I was lucky because my mum told me she loved me and we loved her, and that's when you hear those words, it doesn't matter what you have. Like, it just meant the world to me. Like, because my mum was someone who I looked up to because she was there for me and my siblings, and she was, um, very strong, and she didn't make any excuses and that kind of thing. So whatever my mum said, I took it all in. So yeah, that's kind of where I kind of come from out at Emmonsburg. But one thing also my mum installed into us is education. So our culture, like Brendo said, is, my culture and language is very strong, but my mum was also big on education. So, we went to school in Alice Springs, and I didn't know how to read and write. I really struggled at school, and I used to, copy off my non-Indigenous friends, sitting down with them and, seeing what they wrote down, and on the corner of my eye, just write down what they wrote. And but that I was my mum always just said, you got to go to school every day, and I used to make out that I was sick and that, but she knew that I wasn't sick, and she said, "You got to go to school, mate. Sorry." um, yes, but that was her thing, you know. She knew that if I went to school every day, I'd learn a word or a two-letter word or a three-letter word, and I'd run home and tell her what word I learnt, and I was that excited to tell her what I learnt on that day, and
Mm.
and because you know she just meant the world to us, you know, like you know I'm the youngest of five siblings, um, and my other siblings, you know, kind of said that I was the spoilt one because I just wanted to be around mum and mummy's boy and just be around her all the time. But I just thought the world of her, like my other siblings. She's just just a great role model to not only us children. She opened the door for everyone. Like that's why we lived in a crowded house. It wasn't just us five siblings in our three bedroom house in Alice Springs. It was extended family and our grandparents when they were alive, they were living with us as well. And that just stems back to our strong faith and you know welcoming anyone and whoever needs a roof over their heads and that's a part of our big culture. We don't say no to people. We share things and share what we have and you know a roof over our head or somewhere to stay and family would stay, you know, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks but we just thought it was normal. Like we just didn't, you know, we just thought, you know, that's our family, you know, like it's not just us siblings and our grandparents, it's our extended family and our first cousins and that's staying with us as well. So that was, you know, a big part of my life growing up is just what I quickly knew was just that the only thing that mattered is that I had mum was there every day and she was constant. She was there like every day we'd see her, and that was the constant thing we had in our lives is her in our life. That you know, this pillar of strength, and that's all we needed. And yeah, and a lot of people have a lot of things in life, and we didn't have much growing up in life, but we had love in our life, and we loved each other, and that's all that mattered. And you know, learning things along the way, like going to school every day, and I learned as I went along, um, and you know, that's what you know, having my strong culture and language, but also having the best of two worlds, I suppose. I think that was her plan. Her plan was to make sure that we had our strong culture, our language, and remember who we are, where we come from, and always keep our 2 feet on the ground. Never think you're better than anyone else, and you treat everyone the same. Um, you always have a smile on your face. You always, you know, chat to anyone, you know, because life's pretty precious and she installed a lot of strong values into us very early, and that obviously also stemmed from our, you know, the faith that she had, and you know, going to we went to church, you know, every Sunday, or we had Ingarda, which is a pastor come to our house also, and do Bible studies with us as well. Um, but that's a bit about my upbringing and as a kid growing up, and I've obviously you know very grateful of everything that that I think the best part about back home is that's where I feel comfortable is
Yeah.
back on country.
Yeah.
Whereas you know now I do feel a bit
Removed.
uncomfortable where I'm what I do now, but I get so excited when I get back home because I just switch the phone off and just straight out to see my uncles and all my family and just my family still live on our outstation and that's where I get my strength from and that's where I you know all the memories and that and just always consciously thinking of, just continue to be who you are and don't be any different and try and stay the same. You might, go on and do some things in life, but for me, it's just always, keeping my 2 feet on the ground and trying to inspire others along the way as well, and sharing my story and journey. I'm not ashamed to share my story and journey, and um, but yeah, that's just a bit about me growing up, and
And
my childhood, I suppose.
and as a kid growing up in those communities and in Alice with your siblings and at church and everything, where did where did sport and did running come into any of that? Where did sport or running, or were you competitive, or was it just you just played games as a kid growing up and then that came later?
Yeah, well, first sport I played was soccer. So I was actually really good at soccer. We used to live like, I think it was like 5 Ks from the Blathscott Park where the soccer ovals were, from Larapinta. So every Sunday I used to get excited and, you know, lucky enough to buy little shin pads and stuff. And, um, and I used to just play with, like, growing up, I just like this again, like, I've always just had mates from all walks of life, like cultures and non-Indigenous people. Like, I didn't, like, they're mates that talk to you and have a laugh, and friends, and I was lucky because I was really good at sport, so that helped me attract, friends to me, and then yeah, soccer was my first sport that I played, and I loved playing soccer, and my brother used to play soccer as well. Um, but that's kind of where I started playing sport, was soccer. And I used to be really ashamed to have my friends over. Like I said, I was too ashamed to have my mates over my house because of the crowded house and situation. So I used to just sleep over my mates' houses all the time, and on a Saturday night before soccer, and my non-Indigenous friends' um, houses and that before soccer, and they just opened their house up to me, um, and those things that you remember for the rest of your life. Those mates that you had growing up as kids, and we just had fun. Like, we just, it didn't matter, mates, and having non-Indigenous friends. Like, we just wanted to have fun, like, just, and play soccer and that kind of thing. So I played soccer for a fair few years, and then once my brother switched over to Aussie rules, because he's a pretty good footy player, I switched over to AFL when I was like 15 or 16 after soccer, and I played Aussie rules for a bit. And as I got older, I went over to Glenelg their SANFL when I was 18, 19, with my brother, because he got selected to play in the seniors in the SANFL level. So I went over and played in under 19s with him for a couple of years. And then I came back home, and he stayed in Adelaide. I just got homesick, and another big part of what I got stuck in was the alcohol. When I was 15, 16, 17, you surround yourself, you have good mates, and then you start getting older, and the alcohol starts getting involved, and you just want to have fun, and that's all I did every weekend, was drink alcohol with my mates. And um, yeah, I just didn't know how to separate myself from alcohol for many years, and went back to Alice, and then I went up to Darwin to play footy, and then someone saw me playing Darwin footy, so I went up, asked me if I wanted to go to Shepherd, and played in the Shep comp there in the Golden Valley League, and then the Bendigo Bombers wanted me to play in the VFL for a year, so I just played in the Bombers feeder club for a year. But the best thing about it is, I just had the courage to try. Said, "Oh well, I'll give it a go. If I'm not good enough, I know I got out of Alice and had a go." And obviously I was pretty small. I didn't put on much weight, and I just yeah, I wasn't good enough, and wasn't strong enough to be able to um, keep up with everyone, and Yeah, but as long as I had a go at it, and then, because for me, I just wanted to have a go at something and get out of Alice and try play footy, because that was my dream, to play footy. But I knew I wasn't good enough, though. I knew deep down that, all right, I've tried my best. That sits comfortable with me, but I'll head back home. So I head back home. I think it was 2006, after footy. So, and then, yeah, after that, a few years after that, I was obviously still in that culture, just drink. I used to drink alcohol from, like, my mates would start drinking on a Thursday night. It'd be Thursday, then Friday night would come, then Saturday, so it'd be all
Mm.
right, then all right, Sunday sesh. So we would have a beers, Sunday as well. So, um, yeah, when you're stuck in there, it's hard to get out. And I was stuck right in there. I was having a good time. I was, partying, but I'd go to work too at the same time. I'd still go to work and commit and that kind of thing. But I just had this alcohol demon inside me that just, it was just a cycle that I was stuck in it with my mates. And yeah, and it was only until I was working for Contaf, in 2008, 2009, and then 2010 was probably the game changer for me, because obviously that's when they had this project going on, the Indigenous Marathon Project, where they were looking to take 4 young men to New York. And I was just happy just doing what I was doing, like just playing footy with my mates and going, drinking on the weekends and working. That life was, I felt it was all right. It was okay. I was happy with that, doing that every week. And but they had the tryouts in, I think it was early 2010 at Anzac Oval, and 3 of the young men that were part of the 4, they all tried out for the Indigenous Marathon Project. So all 3 of them were there, and I wasn't there. There's a reason why I wasn't at the tryouts, because I was in Brisbane with one of my best mates at a Fleetwood Mac concert. Um, so I love Fleetwood Mac. Like, I was, yeah, just the drinking music, and just Stevie Nicks. And
Stevie Nicks, getting down to
um,
Stevie Nicks.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, and me and my mate were there, and we were partying, and I know, before that, and it was just before the tryouts, Rob D. Costello said, "Look, mate, we've got this tryouts. We can reimburse you the flights that you're going to Brisbane. We can reimburse your ticket, your concert ticket, accommodation and stuff. If you just try out, because we've got these 3 fellas lined up, but we just need one more." But I was like, nah. I'm still going to.
And
Sorry, I don't
at
know
that,
you. I don't know who you are. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
Mm.
at that night, well, that's a great point. How did Robert D. Costello know about you? About you?
I think he just chatted to people in the community. Like, he's like, "Oh, well, Charlie can run, and through footy, he just plays in the midfield. He just runs all day. Like,
He was a
I
pretty
just
good footy
committed."
player, by the way. He won how many medals did you win in Alice Springs final? You
Yeah, it
was
was
it
three in
three
Alice. Yeah,
times. So he might
yeah.
he can play footy. He can definitely play footy as well as run.
Yeah, but I
So,
just ran all day.
so Rob obviously got that intel, had these 3 other fellas lined up, knew about you.
Yep.
You left and went off to see Stevie in Brizzy. But then, is it true? Then he came after you again.
Yeah, he came 2 weeks later, back to Alice. Because he had the 3 locked in. Like, it was probably like, 6 months before the marathon, and he really needed to get one more, because the plan was to take 4, not 3. And he just, yeah, he came back. He flew back to Alice and came to where I was working in Contaf, and had another chat to me about, and for me, like, people come into my life and they go and they promise you things, and my self-esteem, confidence just goes right down low. And I just thought, he's just another one of those people that's going to come in my life, promise me something, and it's just all going to come, you know, falling through, and it's going to break my heart,
And
like, so.
did you know who he was? Did you actually
No,
know? No.
no, I had no idea what he was doing. I didn't look him up, what he achieved, but the first time that he came, I didn't waste my time with my mum to tell her. about him. I said, I'm not going to tell Mum. Because I told Mum everything. I told her, like, whoever I met, but I just didn't want to waste her time. I said, no, I'm going to the concert. You know, this person got to let me down, so I'm not going to waste my time telling my mum for the first time. But the catalyst was the second time because he made time, he came back. And when that happens, I just thought, well, this guy's come back, you know, and I always think about things happen for a reason, and it comes from my faith and people coming back, you know, and crossing paths and all those, you know, type of things. And that's when the second time when he came back a couple of weeks later, I told my mum, I said, Mum, you know, this guy he's not giving up. He came back. I didn't tell you the first time, Mum, that he came and met me and is talking about New York and taking me to the world's biggest city in the world and run a marathon and that. But he's come back again 2 weeks later, and his name's Rob de Castella. And Mum was like, wow, son, this man, I looked up to him. I watched him in 1982, I think it was, when he in Brisbane with all the other Australians and everyone around the world, when he ran down the two Tanzanians near the finish line, and just like, because my mum used to run. She used to, she was a runner, and
Right.
she was really good at sport, and
Footballer too, yeah.
yeah, and
Wow.
she got sent away for school because she was too smart at Hammonsburg School. They sent her to Trager Park School in Alice Springs, and then she got sent to Concordia College, a girls' school in Adelaide, because she was just too smart. And you know, and yeah, that's I suppose where the education comes in is through her. But she made a lot of sacrifices because she finished school and then she had to come home because her parents were sick, and we have a responsibility to look after our family and our mothers and fathers. So she was the only sibling. She was the only child. Sorry. So she had to look after her grandparents and come home. So and play that role as well to look after the family. And she had big dreams. Like she could have gone on and to do amazing things. I always think about that. Like I always think about, well, Mum would have went on and did some really great things and in her life, and and again, it comes back to our faith and looking after our family and making sacrifices for others and looking after our family and her parents. So she looked after them until they passed away, and then she had us and met my dad, and yeah, she stayed in Alice Springs, but yeah, she was the one. She said, you know, son, he's a good man, Rob de Castella. And the rest is kind of history, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just gave him, you know, and I'm someone that commits 100%, like, and if someone, you know, my mum says, yeah, to trust him, she said, you can trust him, son, and I just never looked back. Once she said those words, I was just like, all right. I'm not focusing on New York. I'm focusing on training the best I can, because I try and commit to training. I've got to try this, and you know, this is an opportunity. Rob and the team's given me an opportunity. You know, they're paying for everything, all expenses, and that. I'm just going to go over there and try my best and train for 6 months, and the hardest thing is for when they made the documentary. There's a documentary that was made, and everything was that everyone could see that there was a strong young man. I was the oldest out of the four that had everything together, but no one saw the drinking alcohol. Like I kept that to myself. I was still drinking alcohol and training at the same time. So I still hadn't separated myself in 2007 from alcohol, but I'd get up hungover. I'd still go for 5K run, 10K run, and still do the work. I was always committed to doing the work, you know, and mixing the two is you know, a bit challenging. And I was all right during the week, but when it came on the weekend, it was still drinking alcohol and throughout the week. But I didn't open that up to everyone to see. It was just I just kept everything to myself. I found a way how to just keep things to myself and not open myself up to everyone to see. And that's people just saw that, oh, Charlie's there and he's got these young fellas, they're following the lead. They didn't see what personal stuff I had going on. I closed that off from everyone else throughout the doco. And yeah,
What's the
it
doco
was
called?
quite
Sorry,
challenging.
Charlie. So for people
Yep.
listening, what's the doco called? For anyone
Running
that
to
wants to
America. Running to
run into
America.
America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I've watched it like 5 times already, I think.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah. But yeah, I just committed. I committed to the opportunity, and in my culture, when someone gives you something, gives you an opportunity in return, you pay them back through working hard, training, and committing. So I always had that back in the back of my mind. I don't like doing shortcuts. I try to do things at 100%. And it was what the game changer was, because obviously I met Rob, and then I met my girlfriend, who's my wife still, in the same year. So she's non-Indigenous, and she used to work out at Yindamu as well. But she'd come in every weekend. She'd come in and to see me and drinking alcohol, and then go back. And that was yeah, me like drinking, and she was pretty firm on me. Then I think midway through 2010 that you got to make a choice here, because I
Mm.
didn't have that. I had my mum who was there, but I didn't have other people. Like, you meet Rob, and then I met my wife at the same time. So like I said before, you meet people um you know at the same time, and there's a reason why you meet people, and
Yeah.
they show you a different way, and are pretty firm on you. So, well, my girlfriend at the time, she said, well, I'm going to leave you, if you're going to keep drinking, and you got to change, you got to make some choices, because you got to slow down, you got to, so I never had that. I never had someone
Mm.
to give me that firm line. And Rob was the same as well. You know, he'd learned from me where I come from and who I was, and the other three young men, but he was a pretty hard worker and dedicated. I like that in someone. Like, I like the way he trained hard, worked hard. That we had something similar, like. But I just had this demons over my head, like with this drinking like problem. And it was only until we had to do the 30K run in
Training,
Alice. So,
30K
yeah,
training run to lead up
yep.
to the marathon. Yeah.
So we had to do the in September, and it was like 6 or 5 weeks until New York, which is in November. So yeah, I did the 30K, and uh, Joseph Joseph Davies from Kununurra rolled his ankle, so he couldn't do it. And then Jawan, he hadn't done enough training, but he ran. I think he done 10K in it. And Jawan's from Maningrida, and Caleb Hart's from Alice Springs. I think he got to 20 or 25, 20. I think he got to 20K, and his back started playing up. But yeah, it took me to a different world. I pushed hard in the 30K, and I just hit a wall after 20. I think it was 20 or 25K, and I just, like, because I pushed too hard in it, I just thought, wow, I'm in a world of trouble here. Like, just pushing through it, your body shuts down and everything the lactic acid builds up, and yeah, it just took me to a different place, like with the running. And um, after I got through the 30, then I just thought, wow, like, I've got to make some really, really real changes here, because I've got 12K to go,
Mm.
12K after the 30, and I've already hit a wall after 25. So I've got to make some choices here, like what I want to do. And I just wanted to give it a good crack. I wanted to go to New York and get through it. So I've slowly made some choices. I switched my phone off um, on the weekend, because I knew that my mates couldn't ring me or message me. Um, so that was something that I did. I just didn't want to, because they just always ring and want me to come drinking. So I had to switch it off, or just not focus on, all right, I got training on Saturday morning. I don't want to feel hungover. I got to prepare myself for the last 12K. Like, I've got 6 weeks to go, 5 or 6 weeks to go. So I've got to,
And at this point, are you
yeah,
training in Alice, back home in Alice, or are
yeah,
you training
yep,
in Brisbane, or
yeah. Nah, I'm back home in Alice. I'm
so
stuck in the
you,
middle.
you
So,
and you're doing it on your own. You're only checking in with Rob
yep,
every now and then. So
yep,
you're solo. So you've been picked part of this program. You've
yep,
been, you've been put on a plan, and you're going to New York and it's going to be a big deal. And yeah, it must, I mean, so to make this change now, to be challenged like you've said, and then to be able to make this change to go, actually, what's going on? It's huge.
Yeah, because I'm big on hard work and training, and I just had to, the best way to do it was to switch my phone off from my mates, and they did at the time they didn't understand that, like, we're just stuck in this culture of drinking. That's our, weekend. That's how what we do. This unknown. We're going to the unknown. Like what we're aware of is that no other Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander person has gone to New York and ran a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to the unknown and unknown territory, and we've got AFL and rugby league and all the other sports are really big with us, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. But this is we got this non-Indigenous man that's telling us you can do this, and we're going to this unknown. No one's in front of us. Like no other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander are in front of us. We're just going, ourselves, and that was this real scary part about it. Like, and there was a lot of pressure, and a lot of negative, like comments, social media about us, and like they were saying that Rob's wasting too much money on us, and they're not going to finish, and it was really disheartening, the comments and things like that from because we just wanted to try our best and do things, and yeah, and when you get, and that's with anything, you get comments from everyone, and we just got to try and push through it somewhere. But the best thing that Rob said to us was he said, well, don't worry about the comments, don't worry about social media, you prove people wrong by your actions. And that just stuck with me. It just, what he said, it just stuck, because I just, even to this day, I don't have much time on social media and listen to comments and things. So I just like, all right, my actions, I'll just train hard. I'll just get up every morning, 5 a.m, and do the work. I'll do the training. And that's how I'm going to prove people wrong. I'm not, like I said before, I didn't focus on New York. I focused on going over to New York and running the marathon, giving it my best, and having nothing in the tank, like just going over there and just training hard, doing the work, and proving people wrong. That's what I wanted to do in a positive way. And the only way it was positive is if someone asks me to tell my story, I'll share it. But if no one asks me at all, I'm happy with that. I'll just cruise along and just let my actions do the talking. And the best part of it is I slowed down on the drinking, and I started the last 5 weeks. I started to, get really, really prepared for the marathon and do the work. And I went over there, and with no expectations of finishing first. I was just over there, and the four of us first time overseas, going over there, and just that was an experience for us. And but for me personally, I wasn't racing it. So I was running because I knew I was getting away from my demon, which is the alcohol. That's why I pushed hard, worked hard, because if I push hard and work hard, it was slowly, I was hoping that it would fade away, and I'd start to slow down on the drinking by working hard and pushing through the pain. And I'm pretty mentally tough, and I just, I think I ran with a pacer. I think it was like 3:15 pace, or 3 hours 15 pace, or something like that. And I end up
And
finishing.
this was your very first marathon, right?
Yeah.
Very first marathon, and you're running with a 3:15 pacer in New York.
Yeah, because the plan was to try, it was between 3 hours and 3:30, and but yeah, I ended up doing 3:32, and I had nothing left in the tank. I just I think after, I think it was after 30 or 35, I had this sharp pain on my leg, one side of my leg, and it's just so painful. I just like blocked it out, just kept moving. I I don't think I didn't want to walk. I just like, no, I've got to keep moving. I've got to keep pushing, just one foot in front of the other. Just, you know, the more you stay strong-minded and just push through the pain. Like, yeah, it might sound silly, but I like the feeling of feeling discomfort and pain, because it's only temporary. I knew it was only going to be for, an hour or half an hour, and then I'll cross that finish line. Um, and yeah, when I crossed that finish line, it was just wow, it's just nothing you ever experienced, eh? Like you just feel so much weight off your shoulders. I knew I gave 100%. I knew I did the work, and um, I just had that in the back of my mind. Well, I'll prove people wrong in a quiet way, and done it through my actions. I didn't have to say a word. Like that's just my
Absolutely. So
nature,
easy.
Like I don't have time for comments or social media. I just, prove people wrong by my work ethic
Your actions.
and that's all I've ever done. Like I continue to do that to this day, and yeah, it's just changed my life for the better. Like once I finished cross that finish line, like no plan of finishing first, and it's really uncomfortable to this day being the first IMP graduate ever. There's 156 graduates now, and
Wow.
for me, it was just all about team and the four of us finishing and proving people wrong, and we did it. We all four of us finished as a team, and that was a pretty proud moment. Just seeing the other three, because they were
Also,
younger than me, finish as well, and for us four, it was a really special occasion, and together, yeah.
so you're all absolute pioneers in what Rob did and took on in that in that first year to get you all over there. So you've done New York, you've run a cracking time in your very first marathon. Then bring us back home. Like there's the four of you. Obviously, then there was some notoriety and there was some things that went on there. And now, I mean, you're saying there's 156 graduates, and I know the team was just picked recently. I was looking at that last week there online. But obviously, you come back home. How did that change? How did it change you? Did it change you? Did did you go back to some of those that way of life again, or is this was like now, no, this was game on, and obviously then meeting Brendan and the rest of the team that he's worked with you guys out there in Alice and things like that. What happened then?
Yeah, look, Rob's told the four of us, once you finish that finish line in New York, it's going to change your life forever. And we just didn't make any sense of it. We just thought, oh, we've done it, we're going back home and that's it. We just go back to, back to playing footy and go back in that cycle. But not for me, it wasn't being deep down in that cycle. It was still drinking, but not as much as before, because what happened was, everyone was so proud of us. Like I remember the next morning of the marathon, Rob got an email from Kathy Freeman. She made time to, and I still have that in a photo frame, the email that she sent us, and she just said how proud of she was of the four of us, and she's someone, like that everyone looks up to and just in awe of her, like just, and for her to take the time to email Rob and know about the four of us and what we went on and did and finish and achieve, you could see that what we've done here is not something small. It's massive, like it's making positive effect on other people, and we just wanted to make a positive effect on our families back home. That's all we're thinking. Like everyone's going to be proud of us back home, and when we get back home. But it was more to it. It had a ripple effect on other people. What we did, and yeah, it kind of just what helped was the doco the year after and then they had a screening and they could share our journey, because it followed us for 6 months, and people could see that, and then it just got momentum after that, and there was a squad after us where they, I think it was a squad of 12 or 14 the year after with 6 or 7 men and 6 or 7 women for the first time. So, yeah, so that, when that started to happen, when you start to feel, because for me, it's always about making other people happy and proud and having a positive effect. So I got that feeling for other people. Like, that's how I always have been, is, if I can have an effect on other people, that's going to make me feel good and about me inside. And then, then you start to shift about people see you all the time, and, what your image and who you are, and that kind of thing. And so you got to try and make sacrifices and try to do the right thing. But it took me a long time to try and, I'd drink alcohol, but it'd be sensible, and, because you had that responsibility and people, would look up to you because what you achieved and done. So, yeah, it still took me a very long time to separate myself from alcohol. But I had marathons, like I did Boston after, New York the year after, and I just set myself targets and goals, and when I had things in front of me, I just focused and trained hard and worked hard, and any opportunity that was put in front of me, I just gave 100%, and try to work hard for it. Each marathon, they're all pretty tough and grueling, and I had no plan to do the 6 majors. That wasn't in my mind. I didn't even know about the major marathons in the world. I think it was until the fourth one, someone said, "Oh, there's this 6 major marathon. When you do all 6 majors, you get this 6-star medal." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know about it." So it wasn't a real plan like of me. I just saw Boston, then I did Tokyo, Berlin, Chicago, and London. Then that was my last one. I just took things as it comes and just worked hard for it.
And was this all supported by the IMF? Was this all
Yeah,
part of that program? Yeah. And
yeah,
you were, so
supported.
you were working, you were involved in this, and this was then an ongoing. Yeah, I mean, tell us about then what that means to you, and then obviously how that's just propelled you into what you're doing now with the IMF and the marathons that you've completed and the current project that you're doing right now.
Yeah, just like some of the marathons, I had to do a bit of fundraising on GoFundMe and get sponsorship, but IMF helped support me because I just stayed involved. Like I touched in before earlier on, I got to, if I can give time and presence, and if someone calls me or message me or rings me for an interview, I don't say no. I've got to share my story and be really honest about my story and where I come from, and have the courage. It took me a bit of time to have that courage to share my story, but I knew if I share my story and I talk to people, then I might help someone else and in the same situation that I am. And they say, "Oh, if Charlie can do it, he's been through, come from not having much, and stuck in a cycle, and he's got out." Then it was just all in my back of my mind that if I share my story and be honest about it, I'll help someone. I'll help other people. So that's all I've done, is just make time and presence. If I rarely say no to things, like it's just my nature. It's just like I just love sharing and just giving people time. Like, just crossing paths with people, and chatting to people. I'll chat to anyone. Like, it's just important for me to, you know, share my story, and that's what I did. Like I just continued to run, and once I continued to run, it just like that alcohol demon got further and further away from me because I had all these opportunities and ran all over the world and been well supported. So in return, I just gave back my time and presence, and I helped others, along the way. Like I understand. I help people that I know, but I'm always conscious of helping people that I don't know, and who I haven't crossed paths with. That's what I'm really, really conscious of, and they have an effect on my actions and what I've done, and I'm really conscious of that as well. And um, yeah, I've been really blessed and lucky, um, for what I do, and I'm always just blessed to be able to run. Like I just, I've got an opportunity. I think, I've been given a gift, so I've got to try and make sure make the most of it while I can. And I know it's grueling and tough, the marathons that I do. I think I've done 12 now, so but it's not it's something extra that I do. It's been a part of my life for 15, 16 years now, and yeah, if it's a part of my life, I'll just continue to run and continue to do what I do. Like it's because I know I help others and inspire others, and Brenda's a perfect example. We cross paths for a reason, and like I said, I'm a big believer of crossing paths with people and interactions with people, and yeah, when you just have a positive effect on people, like, and you keep for me, probably what probably attracted him to me is my nature, I suppose, and I'm not a loud person. I just keep pretty calm and relaxed, and he probably had no idea what I did until someone probably mentioned what I did, and then the conversation started, because that's how I always am. Like I don't say much until someone says something, and then I've got to talk about it. So I'm pretty comfortable not talking about things, but when someone else mentions it, then I'll start the conversation. Yeah, I think that's how we kind of cross paths and can you continue to keep in touch, and yeah.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we worked at the Clontarf Foundation. So Clontarf Foundation is just supporting young Indigenous men throughout their schooling. I moved to Alice Springs a couple of years ago, and Charlie, you weren't living there at the time, hey?
Nah.
You no, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I had no idea who Charlie Maher was, and I was yeah working in Alice doing my thing, and then you hear a whisper in the town, oh, Charlie Maher's coming back, and nearly pretty much the whole town starts talking, pretty excited to have Charlie back, and I'm like, oh, who's this guy, Charlie? Like, looking forward to meeting it because he worked at Clontarf as well, so um and yeah, didn't even know any of your story. Yeah, and I remember, and then next minute someone's tapped me on the shoulder when I first probably met you, and he's, oh, Charlie's running around the world. I'm like, what? Charlie's running around the world? Tell me more. And then there was a sub 3 marathon in Japan, is
Yeah,
that
in
correct, in
Tokyo,
Tokyo?
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that clicked. I was like, oh my God, he's fast. Whoa, like unreal. And yeah, to be like that, I just got drawn to you straight away because, like, living in Alice, obviously the disadvantages out there, and a lot of kids struggling in that space, and then to see yourself in that, that you've been there too, and what you said, got out of the cycle, and not only run a marathon but ran around the world. And for me personally, because I got the experience, just Think River, to be out there, and um it just blew my mind, and then I guess I just got drawn to you straight away, man. I just wanted to. I was probably some annoying little guy asking all these
Nah.
questions, right? um, but then we just connected, and I remember my mum and dad visited town a weekend, and the doco was on that same weekend. The Running to America doco, located at the school at CSC.
Yep.
And first time watched a doco, and I only knew surface level, having small chats with you, and I was like, how cool is this? Mum and Dad, I know this guy on who's about to do this guest speaking show. You got to come along and we'll watch this doco. And once I watched it, like, I was just like, holy, like, wow, like the coming so far back to what you've achieved now, and like what you said, like, if Charlie can have his 2 feet on the ground and just take action and just live simply and just be the best person you can be every day. I just took all that in with myself and like there's no way in a million years that what I've achieved in my running journey without crossing paths with yourself and hearing your story. I wouldn't be on this podcast talking to you right now, or I think I ran my first 65-kilometer race at the West Max that same year, and I just remember straight after that that chat that you had at the film night. I just got up in the morning, went for a run. Instead of just like thinking about what's in the future, I've become more present with life and running. And yeah, so and I've seen it in the sense of community. Like I also I was working at Clontarf, got all the young Indigenous kids around it as well. It's like, hey, once a term we'll truck on the Running to America film for the young fellas at school, and we started to do some running events and in your name and just like the inspiration you have throughout the community was just really magical, and it's just spread it throughout Australia. So it's just very very, that's why we run, right? For meeting people like yourself and I kind of want to do the same in my journey, and try and give back to others as well. And I think it's a flowing effect through what we do in this the world of running. Yeah.
Do you have
mm.
and Charlie, do you have any new project that you're currently working on?
Yeah, that's obviously what I've doing now this year is quite challenging, but obviously what I didn't mention when I did first meet Brendan, and because I've relocated I moved away from Alice with Clontarf in 2014. Went to Dubbo, got opportunity, and that just goes back to I was lucky because my education, like I touched on before with my mum, education. So I learned a lot, and I got in a position where I'm a work harder, like work ethic. I got my work ethic from mum to work hard at work as well. So I thought, I had this dream in my head to live near the ocean, and I didn't share it with anyone, and to buy a house near the ocean. But I didn't share it with anyone because I just didn't think it would happen. But I moved away through Clontarf with work and got myself to Port Macquarie after Dubbo, which I thought Dubbo was kind of near the ocean, but it's in the west of New South Wales. But I thought, okay, if I go there for a couple of years, I might do an okay job, and there might be an opportunity after that. And like I touched on it a few times, is you give things a go, and things happen for a reason. And if you work hard, you might get to your destination. So, and that was both mine and my wife's dream, is to kind of live near the ocean and buy a house and have our family and that. So, eventually got here to Port Macquarie in 2016 with Clontarf, and still live here today in Port Macquarie. But a lot of adversity, as Brendo knows, I've had to overcome in the last 3 or 4 years. It's been really challenging because in 2021, my mum had a massive stroke, and I was here in Port Macquarie, and I've got the phone call from my sister, my older sister, that mum's been flown to Adelaide and she's had a massive stroke. And she was on dialysis for a while, and then she had her stroke, and she went down to Adelaide, and she was surrounded by us, all her siblings and my dad and that, and she passed away in Adelaide in 2021, early 2021. So that was pretty tough, like on all of us, just because what she did, like what she did for us and the sacrifices and that she made, and she was always there, constant. She'd ring you and, say that she loved you, and we loved her, and that's all that mattered to us. And we were lucky, because we got that chance, and our relationship with Mum was, it was amazing. We don't regret anything that that we have with her, because it's all love, and that's what she provided us, and we knew that she was going to a better place, and like our faith's number one, and in God is through Jesus Christ, and she's going to a better place up in heaven, and she's in no more pain. So, although it was sad that we lost her, but for me it was just not always her speaking was in the back of my mind all the time, like, son, you got to keep going and you got to keep doing it. You can't go back. Always keep going forward. That mindset. Even though I couldn't hear her presence was still with me all the time. So, and she's kept me on path. Ever since she passed away. As well, and then. What really got challenging is because when I was growing up, I only trusted my mum and big sister, and my older sister's 8 years older than me, so I had this real trust thing about going to other people. So if I didn't have my mum or stayed with mum, I'd have to stay with my sister, and she'd have to drop everything. She's 80, 90 years old, and her younger brothers were coming over to stay with her, and make sacrifices for me to stay and not go out with their mates and stuff. So, and family was number one. So, and then I think it was a year after my older sister was diagnosed with bowel cancer. So that was very quick. It was she was diagnosed with stage 4, and it was May 2003, I think it was, or 2002. It wasn't not long after Mum passed away. She sadly passed away with bowel cancer, and that's when I dropped everything and moved to Port Macquarie. I moved back home to Alice because I was here in Port Macquarie because it was just too hard. I just needed to get back home and be around family, and that's kind of where we crossed paths with Brendan and being back home. And I was, I strive to, I achieved my dream to buy a house in Port Macquarie and live near the ocean, but I had to drop everything again to come back home. And for me, family's first, and just to be around family, because we had so much sadness, in our life, and that the very, losing my mum and then my sister in a short amount of time. I just needed to go back home for a couple of years, and lucky enough to meet Brendo there. So a lot of adversity. You go through some challenges, ups and downs. We all go through it, and for me, it's just always trying to keep positive and having their thoughts in my mind, and not going back to a dark place, and because I just wanted to make them proud. And it was only so the sixth major was London in 2022, and my sister passed away in May 2022, and I had to do the London Marathon in October 2022. So it wasn't long after she passed, but I asked my sister before she passed away if she wanted me to still run the London Marathon or not, and she said, don't worry about me, brother. You got to think about the impact that you're going to have on other people, and that's just how my mum was and how she was. Just always thinking about other people, not what she was going through. And that's all I needed to know. If she said no, maybe it's too hard for you to do. What you're going through, but she was like, no, brother, little brother, you got to do this. You got to think about all the people that you're going to inspire. You're going to be the first, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander person to run all 6 major marathons in the world. You're going to make other people proud. You're going to make us proud. You're going to make me proud. And she knew that she hadn't had much time left, and yeah, she told me to do it, and I didn't have much training prep. I think I did 10 weeks of training um, for London, and I think I finished in just under 4 hours, and I just dedicated my major marathon, six major, to both my mum and big sister, the two most important people in my life that, you know, helped me get to where I am today. And that was a really proud moment. When I crossed that finish line, I looked up and and all I ever wanted to do in life and was make them proud. I just wanted to make mum proud, or mum with my big sister, and just I knew when I crossed that finish line, I made not only both of them proud, I made a lot of people proud that day. Because we had to go through a lot of adversity, but I just didn't think of myself, and I just thought about like, got to just get this done, and no matter what's going on, I know that they're in a better place. They're not in any more pain and suffering. They're looking down, smiling. Always their presence are with me. And yeah, when I finished London, it was really proud moment. Just really tough, but you go through a lot of tough things in your life. We all go through it, but you just got to have that strength to just keep pushing forward. So, and I know I didn't want to go back in a different way. I was just like, keep going forward, and keep making them proud. And that's why I've done the six majors. What else do I do now? And that's why I'm doing the 8 major marathons this year. I've got to just keep running, I suppose, and keep. For me, I like bringing people along with me, side by side, and from all walks of life. And, I know and inspire Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, but for me, I'm big on uniting people together, um, and I do it in my own way and very quietly, and that sits comfortably, I know it still has an effect on people, and that's why I'm doing these challenges to, um, obviously raise money for IMF and our programs, but also that awareness. And for me, as a strong Aboriginal man, with a strong culture and language, I want to cross paths. A lot of people have learned my story and journey, and it's not only Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, it's non-Indigenous people, and they share my story and cross paths with me, and I just treat people the same. I just love, that's just my nature. That's how I
Absolutely.
grew up, and I'll continue to do that as long as I live.
Mate, I mean, and absolutely. I mean, you've made many, many people proud, including your mum and your big sister and your family, and you have inspired others. And Brendo, having you on the top of his list to come along, and we know this because we met Jess Baird Welsh, one of our previous guests, a couple of weeks ago, who's a good friend of mine, and very quietly she was toiling away with her own project, which was running a minimum of 5K every day, and which started out as a sort of a small project, a small little thing, and it got bigger and bigger. And then as people began to sort of know about it, obviously she was sort of heading towards this 1,000 days running over 5Ks every day. But she realized, and you were very much part of her reason for doing this, because she realized at some point, well, hey, I need to have some purpose. And it was the Sydney Marathon last year where she was running behind you, for most of the way around Sydney, and she just got fixated on your singlet. So the IMF singlet worked, and she just kept on reading it over and over again, and it just resonated with her, and she crossed the line, and she had a moment there, and then she went home and did all the research. And then now, and it's gone full circle, and it's a real great synergy to be able to have had her on a couple of weeks ago and now have you here. And she ticked off the 1,000 days, but now she's still going. And because her ultimate goal is, and this is the most incredible thing, is her purpose is that she's raising $1 million for IMF and the Indigenous Marathon Project as well. And
Wow.
so, to have that connection and that synergy. And mate, you truly do. I mean, and Jess is one of those. Just in all of that, you truly have a legacy that that you are taking forth with you. Now, this is one of those kind of episodes that halfway through, I'm looking at Kelvin going, geez, I wish we did this as a two-part episode. Because we could have chatted for a long time. But and it is, and it is very cliche and very difficult to be able to switch off this. But with closing on that, we do ask our guests here if they could tell us and share what is a cowbell moment, a moment that rings true for you that has left an impression on your life, not just in running, but anything that you've done throughout IMF or anything that you've achieved so far, Charlie.
Yeah, that's a really good question, eh? Like, for me, it's I'm not big on being recognized for things like achievements. I don't like getting awards or, you know, being number one. It's really uncomfortable with me. Um, I don't like, being the front of everything. I just like to do things, trying to be equal with everyone else. And yeah, I'm just happy just doing things normally. And yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not big on getting things for myself and recognition and achievements, and that doesn't sit comfortable with me. But what I get fulfillment out of is I get that if what I get is the fulfillment I get with other people. I love seeing other people achieve and get recognitions and have an impact on them and changing their life for the better. And that's what I get fulfillment out of. And that goes way back to my faith and always thinking about others and um, supporting others so they can rise up and and do things and go on to run marathons, or like Brendo's done, do what he's done. I get a lot of satisfaction and proud, like if he does something really good or anyone, like I'll send him a message and tell him how proud I am. Like, and that's the fulfillment I get. I get so much fulfillment out of other people running it. And one of my best mates, he ran his first marathon in Canberra with me, because he comes from a footy background, and he ran his first marathon. So I get fulfillment out of him. And my brother-in-law, Sean Cusack, he's now ran 3 marathons, and I get fulfillment out of what he's achieved. So I just love seeing other people succeed and do really well, and that's what I get fulfillment out of. And that's probably my cowbell thing that I have, that seeing other people do really well, that fulfillment, and seeing them to go on and do really well for themselves. And that just all goes back to how I grew up, my family, my mum, everything that she said to me, it's always been in the back of my mind. Just keep grounded and, keep humble, and, keep being who you are, being respectful, and show your respect to others, make sure you listen. And but for me, it's that, and obviously making mum and my big sister proud. That's like, and that's all I ever wanted to do in life, especially like my mum. Like, she sacrificed a lot, and I know she's really proud of me. Like, and I know a lot of people are, and through my actions, and I've helped change lives, potentially save lives. I always think about that, the role that I have, the role that I play. And yeah, I think just making other people happy and proud and seeing them succeed, that's what I get fulfillment out of. And I think I've got an opportunity and a platform, and for me, I've got to make the most of it and share it as best I can. But I know I have a positive effect on others, on my nature, and my calming presence. And I just hope that other people do the same. And yeah, I'm just big on just changing people's lives, and it doesn't have to be Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. It's, like I said before, can be anyone. I'll cross paths with anyone if I can change their lives and for the better.
Yeah.
And
That's so good.
if I can do that, that sits really comfortable with me. And if I can do my actions and changing and uniting people, that's my achievement. So yeah, that's why I keep doing what I do.
Yeah, so good,
Absolutely.
Charlie. I think what I can summarize that, like, I think you're almost like saying that, like, your cowbell moment is to help other to find their cowbell moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Wow,
And it's
amazing.
yeah, absolutely outstanding. And we know Brendo how he's had that impact on you. So, mate, thank you for introducing us and making this all happen.
Oh, that's
Nah,
awesome.
yeah. Nah, yeah, it's just unreal. Yeah, we got Charlie on the show tonight, and exciting for what he's going to do for the rest of the year. Just on the running one marathon in each state around the country throughout the year, raising money for the Indigenous Marathon Foundation. So, all the best on that journey, Charlie. The the story continues, and the new chapters will be written within the future. So exciting times for you, man. I'm blessed and humbled, and very grateful to be a little sidekick on your journey, man. So I'll be following you. I did Korea in WA the other week, which was awesome, and it was great to be just around your energy again, man. So miss you and love you, man. So keep doing what you do.
Yeah, love you too, brother. And yeah, I think I've got 5 marathons to go, so almost halfway. But yeah, I just think about, I ran with a smile on my face when I was in pain on the weekend, because I just feel how lucky I am. Just like giving young kids high fives.
Awesome.
Um, life's pretty precious, and I know that firsthand. So you do things grueling, tough, and um, but you put smiles on people's faces, even though you're in a bit of discomfort yourself. But I just think about, oh, if I did that and give someone a smile or a high five, that'll just make their day. So always very conscious of that. But yeah, just grateful. Thanks for reaching out, and thanks for Brother Brendo for teeing this up. Yeah, just always got time for people, like I said. So never miss an opportunity for a chat to anyone. So yeah, thanks, guys.
No, thank you. And
Thank you
this
so
year you're going
much.
to get the 7-star medal when you go to Sydney because you'll be running. It'll be the
Ah,
official
yes, yeah.
part of the Sydney. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to tick that one off.
Yeah, yeah.
Mate, cannot thank you enough. Kelvin, Brendo, Charlie, what an awesome night. Thanks very much for sharing your story.
Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank
That's
you.
it. Cheers.
Cheers.